Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to discuss the histological feature of the cardiac muscle, which exhibits the structural and functional characteristics which are just intermediate between those of the skeletal and the smooth muscles. And as you know that its contractions are strong, so it utilizes a great deal of energy, and the contractions are continuous, and they are initiated by inherent mechanism, though they could be moderated by external autonomic and hormonal stimuli. Now, as you know that cardiac muscle cells or cardiac muscle fibers are the same thing. So we have to first compare the qualities of the muscle fibers with that of the connective tissue fibers. For it, we have to learn that the muscle fibers are cells or fibers, and they are actually a living entity, as these fibers have nuclei and they perform all the biological functions of the cell. These are the characteristics of the muscle fiber or muscle cell. Because of its elongation, they are called as such. Now, what biological function the muscle fibers perform? They do regenerate, respire, etc. And if you can see the fibers of the connective tissue, which includes the collagen, elastic, or reticular fibers, these are non-living, and you can say these are basically proteins and extracellular product of the connective tissue cells. When they break down, they cannot regenerate, they cannot respire. These fibers are produced by, the cells like fibroblast predominantly, and these fibers are also non-nucleated, hence are non-living. Now it must be clear to you the difference between the connective tissue fibers and the muscle fibers. Now coming back again towards the cardiac muscle fibers, this cardiac muscle, as we know, is involuntary and striated. The connective tissue of this cardiac muscle is the endomysium, and the myocardium, as you know, which is the muscle of the heart, has subendocardial and subpericardial connective tissue layers. Now you are looking into the histological longitudinal section of the cardiac muscle. Here you can see that these cardiac muscle cells or fibers, you can say, are elongated but are branching cells and having the irregular contour at their junctions region, you would say. And definitely you are looking that there are cross-striated bending pattern, similar or identical, you would say, to that of the skeletal muscle. But you can see that there is the major difference in between these two, that the cross striation present at its cytoplasm or sarcoplasm are there, but not as much clear as that of the skeletal muscles. Reason being are the irregular branching shape of the cell, and the other reason is the sarcoplasm is present more abundantly inside the cell, and so not making the clear availability of the cross striations in case of cardiac muscle because of these two reasons. Now you can see that these cells of fibers are having a single oval central nucleus. Sometimes it could be binucleated, and it is the occasional finding we can see. The nuclei are, you can see, very clearly visible in the center of the fibers. And another important thing, you can see that around the nucleus there is a clear zone of non-fibrillar perinuclear sarcoplasm. And if we find this clear space, if the section is exactly not taken through the nucleus, and also if you see the side adjacent side of the nucleus, you can find this clear space, and next to them are the myofibrils of the individual cardiac muscle fibers, you can very well observe. Now another very good view of the longitudinal section showing the cardiac muscle fibers that are elongated branching cells, irregular contour is there. And one thing should be clear in mind, that you can see that these myofibrils of the cardiac muscle separate to pass around the nucleus, and it is the region which is rich in mitochondria. The Golgi apparatus is there, and in old age lipofuscin pigment granules and are also there. You can find maximally glycogen content, and fatty acids are also a part of it. Then you can find, if it is the atria of the heart, atrial region, you find the atrial granules. They are maximally concentrated near the cytoplasm, which is around, you would say, the nucleus. And what they carry? They carry the granules, two types of variety. One is the atrial natriuretic factor and the other is the brain natriuretic factor. What they do? Both these are the hormones and they act as a diuretic. They affect the urinary excretion of the sodium by inhibiting renin secretion by the kidney and aldosterone secretion by the adrenal gland. They also inhibit the contraction of the vascular smooth muscle. So, this is the detail of the atrial natriuretic factor and the brain natriuretic factor found in the atria of the heart. We are again looking into a section showing the oval shaped centrally located nucleus, and you can very well observe the mitochondria which is present abundantly around this region, and that is showing the need for continuous aerobic metabolism that is going to take place in your cardiac muscle. Now coming towards the most important specialized area, which is the end-to-end intercellular junctional area you are observing in the cardiac muscle, are the intercalated discs. Under light microscope, you can observe them as a linear structure, darkly stained lines running across this cardiac muscle. But the electron microscope is gonna explain that this intercalated disc consists of step ladder like fashion or pattern, having short segments which are made up of two type of components, and I will show you another diagram, or here you can also see the step ladder like pattern. Let me make it schematically for you again. This is the handmade intercalated disc view I have made for you. It has got two components. One, you can observe the transverse component, and other one is the lateral component. The transverse component is crossing the muscle fiber at the right angle, longitudinally arrange right angle to the longitudinally arranged myofibril, you would say. And the lateral component, if you consider, they are looking like a series of surfaces that lie perpendicular to the transverse component, but they are running parallel to the myofibril. So this is making the typical step ladder pattern of the intercalated disc. Now kindly concentrate again on this figure, that there are three types of intercellular junctional complexes found in the intercalated disc: the fascia adherentes, the desmosomes, and the gap junctions. So the transverse component of the disc contains mainly the desmosome and the fascia adherentes, and the lateral component you will find them rich in the gap junctions. Now there is another feature of that cardiac muscle in which you are looking into the T-tubule system and a detail of the sarcoplasmic reticulum. It is less well developed here in the cardiac muscle, that one small cistern, which you call it as terminal cistern, per sarcomere is there in a dyad with a T-tubule, and one T-tubule per sarcomere, you would say. And where they are located, they are basically lie at the level of Z line instead of AI junctions. These T-tubules are invagination of the sarcolemma. You should keep in mind, and they are consisting of longitudinally running tubules, you would say, and they interconnect and anastomose so frequently with each other, forming a plexiform pattern. So you cannot find the large terminus cistern around them as you found in the skeletal muscle before. So the structure here are called as dyad instead of triad. Now you can look into the longitudinal section of the cardiac muscle and the transverse section of the cardiac muscle as well. And you can notice the valvascularity of these cardiac muscles. And a little bit more about the T-tubule system. Why it is there? It is for the passage of the calcium ions. That is very much important or essential, you see, to initiate the contraction cycle taking place or working in your heart. And depolarization of the T-tubule membrane, what they do, they activate basically the voltage sensor proteins. And later on, the calcium from the lumen of the T-tubule is transported to the sarcoplasm of the cardiac musculature, and that opens the gated calcium release channel. And now the calcium release triggered mechanism comes into action, and then there is a massive and rapid release of additional calcium to initiate the further coming steps of the contraction cycle, because we need the long lasting membrane depolarization in the T-tubule system of your heart, because we know that it has to act as a major pump in your body to supply the all blood in your heart, and the contractility is very much required. Cardiac muscle, as you know, exhibit a spontaneous rhythmic contraction, and this intrinsic spontaneous contraction is coordinated and locally regulated. And you know that the cardiac muscles, which are modified cardiac conducting cells, they organize into nodes and highly specialized conducting fibers called Purkinje fibers. And you know, both sympathetic and parasympathetic fibers terminate in these nodes, and sympathetic stimulation definitely accelerate the heartbeat and increases the frequency of impulses to the cardiac conducting cells. And what the parasympathetic stimulation do, that has to slow down your heartbeat. And you know what, while sleeping your parasympathetic system is dominated, and that slows down heartbeat by decreasing the frequency of the impulses reaching to your cardiac nodal system. And you know, another important thing in this very picture, you can see various you can see the fibers inside the in the TS, the myofibrils, the nuclei, capillaries, sarcoplasma, and sarcolemma as well. After you would like to learn about the nerve supply, another important topic could be the injury or a repair that is taking place in cardiac muscle. That what happens after local injury to cardiac muscle, like in ischemia or myocardial infarction, that is the death of the cell, which is repaired by replacement with the fibrous connective tissue, because there is no regeneration that is taking place in a sense. But sometimes they say that a recent if research is going to be take place, they would reveal that some nuclei may be undergoing mitosis, but the number of dividing nuclei is very low, just 0.1%. So we can be very much clear about it. Clarity is about that the involuntary cardiac muscle actually do not divide in normal condition. Rather, they would be going under some stresses, undergoing hypertrophy whenever there is a demand. And in this very picture, again, we are looking into the comparative study, you would say, with that of the skeletal muscle. But if we discuss the parameters, so you can very well find the structural features there, that the muscles are which fibers are short, and in comparison to that of the skeletal muscle, location You know, the cardiac muscles you can find in heart, in superior inferior vena cava, and the initial segment of your pulmonary veins as well. Connective tissue, we have already discussed that endomysium is there, delicate connective tissue layer, then subendocardial and subpericardial connective tissue is there. Then, if you consider that what happens to the fibers, they are very much linear, branched, and striation definitely present, but not very much as clear as that of the skeletal muscle. Reason we have already discussed. Nucleus is single, could be binucleated cells we can find, and being surrounded by the juxtanuclear region or a clear zone. And then they have mentioned that the T tubules are present at Z line, forming dyad with small terminal cisterns and one T tubule per sarcomere. And what about the cell to cell junction? The intercalated disc, let me repeat, having fascia adherentes, desmosome, which is also called as macula adherentes, and the gap junctions. And special feature is its intercalated disc, and we know that it is being functional list, you call them as an involuntary muscle and under autonomic control. What about the type of contraction? They are showing all or none rhythmic pacemaker conductivity system present in your heart. And then you can find a regulation of the contraction, in which you can see that binding of a calcium to troponin C causes tropomyosin movement and exposes myosin binding sites on actin filaments. And under normal condition, in the heading of growth and regeneration, no mitosis in normal condition. And what happens if there is a demand? There could be the hypertrophy, and regeneration, they would say, is not found in normal condition. Rather, scar formation takes place. So this is much more about the cardiac muscle. Thank you very much, and Allah Hafiz.